Hello, hello. We are recording, we are live, and we are talking about goals today. What are your goals for 2026? It is not too late. Just because we're in February, it does not mean that it is too late to start talking about your goals. So, what are your goals for 2026? Have you written them down? Have you gone over them more than one time? Are you not sure what your goals should be? I was just sitting here thinking to myself, like, what do I want my goals to be for my brand? And, I've thought about this time and time again. I've written stuff down. I've asked ChatGPT to help me kind of like put my thoughts together. But it's harder. Your year for your business, your year for your brand is harder when you have not written down your goals, right? You have to write down your goals. And we have been talking about showing up for your business this month. So what does that look like? What does that look like for you? We talked about consistency. We talked about momentum. We talked about keeping promises to yourself. We talked about sometimes you may not have anything to say. You may not have anything to put out into the world for your followers, right? But this was like an impromptu video. I was like thinking about goals and thinking about, okay, we don't follow through with our goals if they're not written down. I have to write my goals down and I have to use this is just what works for me. This does not work for everyone, but I have to use my phone. I have to use planners. I have to map out a plan and I have to remind myself of the goals that I set for myself because if I don't, they will not happen. And that goes the same. That's the same for like meetings or like if I have an event or if I have, a girls' hangout if I don't put something in my phone, because I'm always on my phone, I always have my phone with me. It's I'm always on my computer. Everything is synced up. For those of you that have Apple products, everything is synced up. So I put my appointments, my meetings, my events, everything's on my phone, my iPad, my computers, because if I don't see it, it's not going to happen. Why? Because I do so many things. I have so many things that I'm responsible for that something is eventually going to fall through the cracks if I do not have systems set up to remind me and keep me on task, right? So with my goals, I have to be the same way. I have to take time to write them down. I have to take time to remind myself this is my deadline that I set for myself. Remember, we talked about keeping promises to yourself and those promises being non negotiable. We talked about this a little bit. I have to find the chapter. I'll try to put it in the description. But this is the book that I was referring to that we went through in January for Soul Detox. And the topic was own your focus. So I feel like a lot of my videos are centered around this book that we went through. So there was a chapter in this book. Like I said, I don't know it right now off the top of my head, but I will find it and I will put it in the description for you about keeping promises to yourself and that like it's non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. You have to do it because you're always going to keep putting things off and saying, "Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next year." And then that time comes and you either forget because you didn't have a system in place or you forget because you just didn't write it down. And I found with myself that if I write it down, if I write down my goals, if I write down my plans, they tend to happen more when I write them down. I have it in my phone, so it pops up for me. And I'm like, okay, yes, I have to do this. I have to make time to sit and record these videos because I said that I'm going to show up for myself, which is showing up for my brand, which is showing up for my business, which is showing up for the people that choose to watch these videos, wherever they may be. It doesn't have to be live, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, it could be a year from now, whatever it is. I want to make sure that whatever I'm putting out there is valuable content and real and honest content. I don't, I like to have nice things and I like to make sure the visual is good, clarity is good, my voice is good, and all that. But I try so hard not to overthink all of that stuff. And I know it can be hard and it can be distracting. And I know that when people tend to show up on social media, that holds them back from their goals, that holds them back from doing what it is that they say they were going to do. But that cannot hold you back because if you allow that stuff to hold you back, you're never going to start. You're never going to go out there and do what it is that you feel like you're being pulled and called to do because you're going to let every little thing stop you from doing that. especially, people that say, oh, I don't have a good camera, I don't have a ring light, I don't have this, I don't have that. You can use your phone. I have used my phone for so many things. I don't have a fancy camera. I don't have a fancy ring light. I use my phone and a phone stand for a lot of my recordings. When I work with my clients, I take my phone. I just use my phone and I use my back camera and I record them. When I'm home, yes, I have a computer and I have a light here for makeup, but that's it. I don't have any extension. I don't have a camera extension on here. I don't have a microphone. I'm not worried about all of that stuff because I don't care about all of that stuff. Um, I know that my knowledge is valuable. And I know that if I set my mind to something, if something happens in the moment and I want to share it, I'm going to share it with my audience. Like this video. This video, I was like, oh, let me just sit and talk about goals for a minute because, I don't think, a lot of people probably have just been so busy and their bandwidth has just been shot. We talk about that in this book as well. Our bandwidth has been shot and we just haven't had time to write down our goals. We haven't had time to make time for our business, to sit down and say, okay, before the year ends, I'm going to write down my goals for my life, my business, whatever it is. We wait until the new year starts, which is fine. It's not a bad thing. For me personally, I like to start ahead because proper preparation beats poor performance. We have to think about that. We can't keep doing things at the last minute. That is not going to sustain us. We cannot put pressure on ourselves to the point where we're not sustained in what we're doing. So we have to work smarter and not harder. Now, I know a lot of people don't like that saying, but it is true. We have to work smarter and not harder in this season of our life, in this year of our life, because the time is going by and it's not going to wait for us. We have to catch up with the times. We have to catch up with what's going on. We have to work some things out internally with ourselves so that we can fully show up for our businesses and for ourselves. And we have to stop, saying, oh, I'll do it later or I'll do it tomorrow. If you are able to do it in the moment, regardless of how you feel, do it. No matter what. If it's not taking up time from doing something else, then schedule a time to do it. But don't not do it, right? I like to say, like this morning, I woke up and I said, I need to record some videos for my brand. I'm going to record this amount of videos. I think I did like 2 already, and this is my 3rd one. This was not planned, but I said, I need to just get up. I just need to get up out of my bed. I need to get myself ready and I need to sit in front of my computer because that is going to motivate me to actually do it. I didn't think, I wasn't feeling too good this morning, but I said, despite how I feel, I am going to get up and I am going to record because I know that if I don't do this, I'm going to be kicking myself later because I know that this is a promise that I need to keep to myself. So it's not too late to write down your goals. It's not too late to start doing what you want to do. I help you with that in my 3-month program. It is open. Enrollment is open right now. If you are interested, please let me know. My website is scrolling across the screen. Visit my website and contact me, schedule a free consultation, whatever it is that you need to do. I am here for you. And let's get those goals to manifest this year. Okay. I'll see y'all later. Bye.